about the consciousness and Neo and the anomaly.
Hmm.
Um,
And he was saving his girl, and it was sort of, I think, well, what I was sort of, and how I connect to what you were saying was like, it really does stem from free choice and understanding that that is the gift. And in a sense, that is the outlier. And he who really does abide by free choice to go and really sets forth and says, this is what I'm doing, will actually upset the normal standard. And that's what actually creates the miracle.
exactly, exactly. And it was interesting because he did mention that there were previous anomalies before him. So that even, and he said that all the other anomalies, whatever their decisions were, maybe they hadn't grasped the concept of free will because they eventually played out the timeline that was supposed to play out. But with Neo, he disrupted it to the point where he was seen as like that savior.
Yeah, he said I ain't having it, and really stuck to, like, really stuck to that, and that's what shifted. And that's, man, that's a great point that you brought up. And it's funny because I've been watching a lot of, and typically I don't even watch movies, TV shows, but I have been somewhat to get an insider of the writer's mind. And so I've been watching a lot about time and a lot about, I've been watching a lot of stuff, but I guess time and somewhat, I don't want to be like aliens, but
Mhm.
extra um, extraterrestrial or supernatural occurrences and beings and communication, because I think it's important to actually take into perspective. It's one thing to watch a movie, right? But then to take in the perspective of and think like, how did they derive at this? Obviously, it came from somewhere,
Mhm.
some kind of experience. I don't care if it was in a dream or whether they were in a car accident, had an OBE and it came to them, or they were simply sitting by the tree or on the couch and it popped up. But I think that all things do come from somewhere, and it's important to get those perspectives. And so I think The Matrix being one of the most grand ones, just because it does show us, and we can get trapped in any layer, and that's the I think the most grand thing about the Matrix is it will show you that anything almost is the Matrix that you allow it to be, because your mind is the ultimate projector, it's the ultimate creator, and it will bring forth whatever you see. So um to me, the Matrix being, if we want to say, the flower of life, and really seeing it on that cube and being able to see it 3D and seeing like, wow, like it popped up to me the other day when I was just sitting there and sort of, I was looking off and gazing, it popped into my mind on how, depending on how you look at it, you can start seeing it move. Even when it's in 2D, you can actually see how it takes its form. And if you can start seeing in that way, then I think that we really can start seeing reality differently and start seeing how, wow, a cycle or a habit is a matrix in itself. Wow, a city is a matrix in itself. Wow, our relationships are a matrix in itself. And it's not until we dissolve all of them, or ego at its grandest, and we go, who are we without all these things? And we get to the core, then we can understand our relation to all these things as we are those things. And then we go, we're outside of the matrix, and we understand how we project and we create the matrix.
Mm, that's interesting. And that is true because even in your life, you start realizing the certain things and the certain habits that you do. You're like, I'm in a matrix. Like you're
Yeah.
part of a collective agreement with your own self that this is what you do. And so
Yeah.
it's interesting that you're bringing it up because usually the matrices that you are taking a part of are the matrices that are inside of you. And you're just projecting it outside, which is you interacting with matrix on the inside.
Wow. That's tough. That's
Yeah.
tough.
It's
I
yeah.
just read a quote that said, oh, I can't say exactly how it's supposed to, so I'm just gonna hit at what it was getting to. Is that like the inner war? It showed that the inner war really is us talking to the matrix and it reflecting with us. And somebody said that when you get the inner world in place, everything on the outer world will fall in line. And it's true, because if we are the magnet, then you feel me? Of course, chaos is going to follow around. If inside you just got that rage and like, oh, and everything is like that. And I think too often we fail to see that, like, because it's so simple, it's plain and in sight. You know, someone will go into the kitchen and it's so plain in sight that when we watch it in movies, we skip over it because it misses our consciousness until we have a convo like this, you feel me? But then where someone goes into the kitchen and does what we talk about, like they're chopping up stuff and then they hit their finger because they've been mad, but you never think that it's because that's the state of consciousness you're in. You attracted yourself hurting yourself or going too fast and all these things. And again, it's so easy to look over these things, but it's not till we sit back and we can have a conversation like this, or conversation with ourselves, or reflect with the universe and go, wow, it's because I am open now, I can have this open conversation. Or wow, because I was so closed minded, of course I cannot make any partnerships out in the world. I'm closed off. Like nothing is going to, you feel me? And so I think that's what these, again, the Matrix
Mhm.
really reflects and gives us the opportunity to see is, who are you? How do you want to interact with yourself?
Mhm. And you're right. You're exactly right. You know, in every place, the thing that you do comes with the matrix also. So it's like, I guess in essence, you can't avoid it. You just, in a way, you want to understand it and then hop into whichever ones you feel like resonate or you picture are matrices for you.
Yeah. And I also think an important thing too is I think a lot of time we do as humans, and it only makes sense. We hold so much weight on connotation and denotation, but I think we're so heavily focused on good and bad as humans, where I think in the true essence of things, things are as they are. There isn't really a good or bad. So the matrix isn't good or bad. The matrix is what it is. It is that it's like saying, oh, the body or the skeleton is bad because it keeps our body in place. No, it's just what its function is, you know. And I think the
Mhm.
matrix is almost the same, as it's a skeleton in a way for reality, for it to grow and replicate, you know, sort of, to me, in a way like DNA does. It's not until we say activate or something really, it takes us almost to death. And then the cells go, oh shit, and get shocked, and then say, no, I really want to live. And then we fully activate and go, I know I don't want to die anymore. You know, I think it's almost the same way. And it's not until then that we say, oh, I'm awake, I've been asleep, I haven't been doing that I should be doing. And because now consciousness is like, we have a limited time in this limited form. So if I'm to do what I need to do here and transcend whatever, let's say, smaller matrices keeping our soul from working and doing the work, then I think that's somewhat, I sort of think that's almost really what happens. And
Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. And I'm not actually not gonna say that. I was gonna bring up somebody controversial.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead. I definitely want you to.
Uh,
I think I know what you're gonna pull up, because I think I want to talk about it too. But let's see.
well, it was actually, and he's real controversial. Is this guy Andrew Tate, and he is very controversial. But some of the things he was saying was kind of in relation to how you may not agree with a lot of the things he does, but he understands that everybody has their own concept of ideas, and you choose your ideas, I choose my ideas, and I'm not going to comment the ideas that he doesn't want to comment on.
Man,
That's all I'm going to say.
and I feel that. And so, okay, so I'll say my spiel and give my controversial equal person to that, because I've been wanting to talk on them and haven't had the platform or way to properly introduce it. Is that whole Kanye, period. Everybody obviously always polarizing, whether or not it's for a stunt, or whether he's giving his personal opinion, or it's both put together. But I think that's something we all look over so heavily because he brought in Nazis to the conversation and all this stuff is what he said that everybody has something of value to actually bring. Something is always of value. And I think it's oh man, it's wild because I'm seeing it. How many matrices are put around so many things, or things get discredited because it gets associated with them. I just talked about this with trauma and association. So obviously, the Holocaust is associated with Nazis, and so for him to say what he said and to say that he loves Nazis, even though, and this is even wild to have to bring up, and the point, we live in a country where we say, in God we trust, and we all are great Christians and we all follow God, and God says we're supposed to love everybody, but yet we're like, Kanye, we gonna hate you because you're talking about you love, so it's just wild to me because again, this is a system again of matrices and of because it's really a thought. It's a bubble and where we really stand on certain things. And it makes 1,000% sense. And I'm not, you feel me? And I don't want to actually say I agree or disagree with anything. I just want to bring up and make those associations between these things and like you said, the controversial topic in person and how they all are very relevant and how he also talks about wanting to transcend outside of this and do so through love. But
Exactly. No, I agree. And, and it's really like you said, like how everybody in the US, I mean, you're either Christian, Catholic, you may have some other branches and different things. But it's like if you were born in China, I'm pretty sure your chances of being Christian would be less. If you're born
yeah.
in India or Africa, they even have people in the islands who practice something called Rastafarian. So that's like a whole nother realm of like ideas and thoughts and matrices. And people are so quick to bash something that's not from where they are, but they don't even have the consciousness to understand, like, wow, if I was in this place, I could think as strongly as I do think about my viewpoint in Christianity or whatever, about Buddhism or about whatever religion is based on that geography location.
You hit on it perfectly. And I think that's also what makes outliers more valuable is that people take them out and bash them because they are outside of the group. So you have so many interesting characteristics that come from the outliers. Obviously, you're going to get some extreme things, whether that is extremely neurotic or extremely whatever it is, sociable or even or aggressive or very thoughtful. You get extremities because we are dealing with outliers. But the issue is, you get an outlier, then you're already outcasted because you're already different. But then the inside median goes, oh yeah, you definitely can't be around here, and we need to keep pushing this out. But to some degree, I think in all societies, these are the people or these are the statistics, these are the things that we become most interested in, whether or not it goes for the bad or the good turn, because these are the ones that actually stand out. And these are the Michael Jordans, these are the Nazis, these are the John Gottis, these are the Albert Einsteins, and these are, and in some shape or form, all these people were outcasted as an outlier, as a either you're not good enough to be in the median, so you need to go and move around. And then they did so and then surpassed the median and then ended up an outlier again. Or they were already out on that way and just like, okay, we're never going to be a part of the median. And so I think it's very extreme and powerful to, I guess, sort of give
Yeah,
credit and focus too. Yeah.
yeah, you hit it right on the head, and we're kind of right on the same page there. And I can even see, even from me moving down to Florida, you know, being from a city and going to a place that's so island and free based. Like when I first moved here, even my clothes, like my clothes scream Chicago.
Yeah. Probably your pace, your energy, and yeah.
Everything. And
Yeah.
it took one of my friends. He was, oh man, like why, where your shorts at?
That's facts. I feel it.
And even now, it was November. It was November a couple months ago, and I had hoodies that I couldn't wear. So my paradigm was so strong. I'm in
Yeah.
the house. It's 80 degrees outside. I'm just throwing on a hoodie just because I'm like, there's no way it's Thanksgiving and I just haven't worn it. I just gotta wear it.
Yeah. It don't
Like
make sense. It
I
don't
just see the
compute.
hoodie every day. I'm like, I miss the feeling of the
I see it like, and I'm used to it. That's wild.
yeah.
That's
And I know when you transitioned and moved, you moved a couple times. I know it was kind of similar to the same thing.
Yeah, as wild as you said. I've been thinking that for the past couple of days actually. Being back, I missed a couple winters in Chicago, being in Hawaii. And so actually being back this one and going through the -3 degrees, like that was treacherous. I was like, whoa, I literally had on like three shirts, sweater, hoodie, trench coat, and then multiple layers. But it's crazy because when it like now it's been hitting 30 degrees, 40, and I got, still layered, but I just been thinking how easy it is to adjust. Like before that, when it dropped 40, before it hit that negative, I was like, oh snap, like it's sort of cold. Then when it hit that, I was like, this is actually cold. Like when your car acting like it don't want to start up and it's in perfect condition. Like, you feel me? Like all that kind of stuff. It's the tire pressure, like all that. And so for it to go back, it's just really shifted me and shifted my mind and made me realize like, no matter what, we adapt to anything. So if we're gonna adapt to it, you might as well when it is bad, go ahead adapt. And now that it's up, it's just put me in a different state of mind. So I'm actually
Mhm,
thankful for being in that always warm and then coming back and being like, oh wow, it's not as bad as I remember it.
mhm, yeah. And see, that's another
Uh,
thing about the matrices and kind of the projection that you're putting out,
yeah.
based on whatever you've done, experiences or experiences you picked up from others. And
Yeah.
there's other ways you can pick up experiences through the theory of that we'll probably touch on later, but that's a conversation.
And that's big facts. So to sort of, I guess, narrow it a little bit down.
Yeah, because
What
we started off with AI. We've just
Yeah, I know we've gone everywhere, and it's funny because it all still does go back into AI. But to sort of give the viewers your focus a little bit more, like what's one of the first questions that you'll be like centering your aim around and talking to the AI and sort of starting your first thread about?
well, and this is kind of I guess, and I hate to use the word. I'm not going to use the word the way that because I don't want to label myself in any way, especially since we're talking about matrices. Um, the biggest way I was using it was just trying to see how I can make my day easier, or if I'm looking for something through Google, maybe I'll just ask that just to see what perspective are you giving me outside of me scrolling and choosing something to read. I'll just take what are you gonna give me? It's like a friend
Yeah.
without biases.
Man, you hit on it perfectly. And as well, again, that you say that, that was my first thought when I got introduced to it. I was like, it's an interactive Google. It's the buddy right next to you that not only has the data, grabs all the data, and does the meta-analysis for you, gives you the best of. And then if you say, hey yo, this is still quote unquote not good enough for me, I need the tone change, I need it to be shortened, I need it to be lengthened. I
Yeah.
need this one page to be 30 pages. It's going to do what you tell it to do. And that's, again, like I remember we were here at one point for NFTs, like when BB was coming out and we were
Yeah.
like starting talking about my business and we are like, we got to do this. Like we could tell how everything was changing and like everything's rapidly changing. But now we're back here for a whole new like AI is the new NFT crypto, and it is because I don't know. I mean, again,
Yeah,
the
it's like a new world.
exactly the capabilities are limitless, and so I think, and I said this to you, I think that when and I say if, but anything's possible. So when AI and NFTs somewhat merge, I think that is when we will start seeing a lot closer to what the future will look like.
Mm,
And I referenced the movie Congress because it's pretty much what ends up happening. They create like this Disneyland, but it's like an NFT land. So when you enter, you have to, let's say, take this little capsule and then you turn into your NFT. You are now no longer yourself. So you've given up the rights to yourself. You're now your NFT. So if I come into Disneyland to look for you, I can't find you. You are as your NFT. And so you may be Gandhi, you may be Medusa, you may be Thor, Zeus, any of these things, but I will not be able to find you as it. And what like I say that this is somewhat to me in the future of they even bring it up. They're like, this is what it is now. You can't leave. This is how it is. And it's funny because I think we start to get a glimpse of this if we really look at it. Some may be like, oh, he's being an extremist, but when we look at fashion and we look at advertising especially when you go down to let's say Times Square or you walk down the Magnificent Mile, do you think that Burberry and Target and Walmart, all the biggest brands, are not going to be paying top dollar to make sure when 99% of the people are stuck in their portals and are
mm,
viewing the world through their portals and augmented reality, virtual reality, their goggles, their lenses, that they're not going to want to advertise in the way that 99% of the population is, in the most viral, the most sensual and intimate way. They have to, because that's what competition is. And so that will be the future when people are, stuck in the VR goggles, the Oculuses and the Google goggles and the Meta goggles, like,
mm.
or the Meta lens, contact lens, or the watch. Of course, that's what it is, So this may seem like just like all the way back then, when people were like, "Oh, that in sci-fi didn't seem like a Ray Bradbury tripping." We talking about Fahrenheit, y'all tripping, y'all burning books. No, people will really live in 4 walls or 20 walls filled with screens that will be projected. Margot, y'all gotta watch the movie Margot. It's a smart house, and we're talking
Mm.
about these exact same things. The house even composed a piece of art from it said I composed this piece of art from like 3,500 different composers and made it out of some kind of nanotech type of, but this is the same thing that I think that we are really headed for. And it's not far before we start merging with tech. We already doing it. Like you said, they're doing implants on making sure that okay, my arm isn't working or these neurons are dead. Now I can actually start having movement, and so it's only yeah.
And I think too, on a side note, since we are on Zoom, I think I can we can do a screen share and I can probably show how chat GBT because I'm on the computer. I could probably show how
Perfect.
I
Yes, I would like yeah.
chat GBT.
Yeah, I meant to. He said that's Snapchat GPT shit. Snap gonna start adding this to him too.
Oh yeah, you know they
uh,
are.
yeah, but yeah, I definitely want to do that. Yep, yep, yeah.
Look at them, they on this. Oh, you probably can't see it.
I can now, but if you screen share it,
Oh no. They your free meeting will end in 2 minutes.
yeah, you already know they on that. Yeah, but I think we both gonna end up asking a question and sort of go into, a minute, and see just to show the viewers what it's looking like.
Yeah, I could definitely
Yeah,
do that. Let me see if I can do.
as viewers, we are interested in knowing what interests you, some of the concepts that we brought up. What do you think about them? Yeah, let us know in the comments. That's what we are here for. And we want to actually bring you content that you guys are wanting to see and, wanting to hear. So,
It's so crazy. And I know we can edit this, but man, it's so crazy. Like this stuff, some people wouldn't even put this out there. They'd be like,
I know, bruh.
that's why I ain't say what I'm gonna use it for. I'm gonna use it.
Gonna use it for sure, for sure. For sure. That's how I started realizing. I'm like, and that's what really Gary Vee also was talking about when we were watching it ritualistically is drop the content. Like, don't nobody care, bro. Like, drop the content. People need it. And like you just said, it's somebody that's gonna watch this and gonna be like, dang, bro, I've been sitting there thinking that I was supposed to drop it and I didn't drop it. They just said to drop it. And then gonna also look and be like, they going crazy. When did they start? Oh, they started like a week ago, or as far as they know, you feel me? And so, and it's real because at some point we're gonna look back. When we look back, and the numbers are up on this video and we just crying laughing like, oh my nigga, remember when we said we need to do the video call, we glitched out.
And we glitched. Hey, cause this is
This is where it's at.
This is different.
Like if we thought and knew we was on it on the NFT spot with Mind Your Business, bro, like, we
if you were
on
still
it.
doing it tonight, it would have been a whole different situation.
Man, bro. On some EYL for R, you feel me? For R, the Benzinga for R.
Exactly.
That's on like.
I already almost got it loaded.
Bro, I was doing hashtags. I was doing hashtags on IG, bro. Artificial Intelligence Podcast is not a hashtag for Artificial Intelligence Podcast.
Wait, for real?
I made the first Artificial Intelligence Podcast hashtag.
Honestly, that might be the niche.
It is the niche, bro. It's AI.
That definitely might be the niche because if nobody has specifically talked about it, and if we're getting it, somebody else is thinking about it too. So we gotta put that in motion.
Already in motion.
We should just do that.
I mean, that's what it is. That's what we doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like that's why every time that we do the podcast, like next time I'm gonna make sure that like we actually set up and we both on screen record our computers and then we're gonna enter our questions as we screen record and then you're gonna send me over your screen records and then we'll put it all together. So as we talking, then when you ask your question, I'll put it up and it'll pop up. And then as it talk, we go through. As I ask, pop up.
Okay.
It's a fully interactive AI podcast.
Yeah, that's different. It's just wait till people are on it and we got them tuning in, asking their questions, and I got it up. We got 5 minutes and 35 seconds.
Okay. We could go ahead and start with your first question if you'd like to. Oh yeah, and we got the screen share popping. It's a wrap.
Yeah, so let's see here. I can't see everything.
And see, when I screen recorded, it wasn't getting me, like it was acting like it was recording me typing it in, but it didn't. It would only show it popping, so I hope that it actually records it typing it in.
Okay. It just showed you typing the answer popping up.
Yeah, like the full thing, like once you hit enter, then it popped up.
Okay, so let's see. Trying to think of a question. 10 ways to clean your house fast.
Oh yeah, and we got it. Yup, popping out. We good.
See, and that's how you know how smart the AI is. I missed the whole word and it's still missed the whole letter and it's still
completely gone.
It's almost unreal.
Yeah. When you're watching it, that's really high, and I'm glad we got it actually typing up because that's how it feels, and so I'm glad now that we got the viewers seeing and walking through with us because when we having the conversation, it is a full conversation.
And we could really have a conversation with it.
Yeah, yep, and that's really like the expansiveness of the podcast, and that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm excited for I'm excited. So if you
Wow,
want,
it's so crazy. Don't be afraid to delegate. If you have family members or roommates, ask them to help with the cleaning. Like this is
nah,
ridiculous. So what I've heard too, you can since we have the list, I asked it 10 ways to clean your house faster. Since we have the list, apparently I can elaborate on things within the list. So
yeah,
here it said use a vacuum with a HIPAA filter. I'm going to ask it, can you recommend vacuums with a HEPA filter? And I wonder if it can even do that, of course.
of course. I was gonna say you could tell it to give me all these points, but make the points shorter, or you could say make it more concise, and it'll
Mm,
drop it. You could type in "make it more concise." Type that in, hit enter, and then type that in, hit enter, type that in, hit enter, all the way down till it makes it like one sentence.
really?
Yeah, that's why I'm like the depth of this is
It's
yeah, it's different.
the previous list more concise, and I'm wondering if it can understand. So I literally asked it, can you make the previous list more concise? So it understands this is the previous list I just gave you. You're asking me to consolidate it, and I consolidated for it.
Yes, so I wish I had it with me, but my first thread is on my friend's laptop. And so what I did was like I had stuff that I've been wanting to talk about for like 9, 10 years, like these experiences, inner awakenings and stuff. And again, I knew where it was coming from on its stance with consciousness. And so I asked it like pretty much like, okay, not gave it ultimatums, like, is it likely pretty much is it more likely that I actually had this experience of inner awakening and nirvana, or is it more likely that let's say I just simulated it and I thought this, and then it gave me an answer, and then I went, okay, well, if time I said if time is not linear because, and then I gave the reasons. And then I said, so if I die and then my consciousness passes, you feel me? Is consciousness ever present? And then it went further. And then I connected that to time and asked how, you feel me? And then about reincarnation. And so I kept on the thread and then I came all the way down to the, let's say, like, maybe 10th thread. And I said, well, isn't it more likely that all these things are related because they're pretty much on the inner thread, and that is the inner connectedness of the awakening and reality. And then it gave me the summation of, I think that it's interesting you made all these connections, and then it went further. So
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. We're probably about to get disconnected.